Hi, my name's Russell Fickling. I'm going to take you through a couple of videos around using the new customer portal. The first is going to focus on identity, logging in, and so on. So what you're looking at here is the landing page for the portal. You can see across the top, we've got a menu, we've got contact, we've got search. Those are all an exact copy of what you see in your main website, the new website. So that's just to provide a consistency of experience for users as they switch between. But first area I'm going to focus on is this login link at the top here, and you'll also see the same login link in the website. So if I click login, I'm presented with a range of options. The first on the left is logging in with an email and password, but on the right hand side we've also got options to use social providers. So we've got Google, Microsoft, and Facebook, and these might change over time as different options become more or less popular. Now this is a login screen, so this assumes that the user has already signed up. If they haven't signed up previously, then we've got down the bottom here, it says don't have an account, then sign up here. So what I'm going to do is register for a new account for the first time. So I click sign up here. Again, I've got the option of either email or password. In this case, I have to put my password in twice because it's the first time we're capturing it. Or we can sign up using one of the social providers. If, for example, I wanted to use my Facebook login, I click sign up with Facebook, and then I'm bounced to the Facebook page to sign in. Same with the other providers, but if I was already logged into Facebook in my browser, then it would automatically sign me in and redirect me back. And that's really the advantage of these social providers, is that you don't have to often type in your login and password because your browser's already signed in, particularly with Google if you're using Gmail and so on. However, I'm going to create a login with an email address. So I'm just going to use my Gmail account with an alias. If you use the plus sign, it's an alias. I'll just make up a unique email address, and then I'm entering my password. Now the password has various rules around the complexity that you need to provide. So as I type, when I tab out of the first password, it evaluates me against those rules. So I've got minimum 8 characters, can't use the word password, you have to have at least one digit, one uppercase, and no more than two characters the same in a row. So these are sort of standard rules based on best practice. At the moment, they might evolve over time, but you'll get that feedback to the user straight away. One that's crossed there is that that I haven't confirmed it yet, so it's saying they don't match. Now, if, for example, I didn't have some of the rules, then they'll just go red or green as I type. So quite easy for users to see how they're matching. So I've managed to put the same password in twice. We've got links to terms of use and privacy. They will redirect to your website, just providing whatever terms you want to add. So having entered that, I click sign up. And when you sign up for the first time, you put in an email address. We want to know that the person using that email address does actually own it. They're not using someone else's email address. So what we do is we send an email to the email address they've entered with a particular code in it. So I'm just going to drag in my Gmail. So here's the email that we've received, and the messaging might change as we go live, but the key thing is that we've got a 6-digit code there. And they might have received this email on their phone. Doesn't matter. What they have to do is type that code 441401 into this box here. If they get it wrong, it'll say invalid code. If they didn't receive the email, they might be able to hit resend verification. They'll get another. It shouldn't go into their junk folder. We have various measures in place to stop that happening, but there is a possibility that it might, and you may need to advise users to look in the junk folder. As I say, it shouldn't happen. So if I've got that code right, I click complete sign up, and what that's done is mark that email address as being verified. It knows that, yep, I am the valid owner of that email. And because it's the first time I've logged in, we've got a registration form to fill in. So the sign up that I've done so far is just determining how I'm going to log in. It doesn't actually tell council anything about me. So we want to capture some information, and that's what this form is about. This form, again, it's configurable, so it might change over time, but as it stands, it's asking for my name. You can see the little red asterisks next to the fields that they have to fill in. If I miss one, and I try and submit the form, it'll tell me which field I've missed. There's an address that we want to capture. This is looking up all addresses in New Zealand, but if it doesn't find it, there's always an option to click here and they can enter it manually. The email address that I've already provided is there. I can change it at this point. Most people won't, but if, for example, you wanted your login email to be different to your profile email that councils are going to send email to, you could put a different one in here. If I do, I have to re-verify it, which means entering another code. Also, if I've logged in with Facebook, for example, then we won't have an email address. If I log in with Google or Microsoft, then the email address will come in. That will be already verified because it's it has to be to use it as a Gmail or Microsoft login. But yeah, if it's Facebook, this field will be blank. I have to enter my email address and I will have to verify it. Again, it's because we're sending emails, council is sending emails to this address. So we want to make sure that someone hasn't put in someone else's address to spam them with unwanted emails. Excuse me. So there's a few other fields. I'll put in my mobile. The advantage of these fields from a user's point of view is that they will default onto any forms that they fill in future. So the mandatory ones are really about council being able to identify the person. Some of these optional ones are more just to help them when they're filling in forms. So date of birth, etc. You don't have to fill in. It is asking, am I an individual or business? That's mandatory. If I choose business, then it's going to ask for some more details about my business. The NZBN number will be validated against the National Register. So if I type an invalid one, it will give me an error and it won't let me continue until there's either nothing in that field or it's a valid NZBN. But I'm just going to say I'm an individual, and I've got to accept the terms of use and privacy policy again. And the Recaptcha, that's to stop robots spamming council, but generally it's silent if you're under certain circumstances. If I'm already logged into Google, Google provides this Recaptcha mechanism, so it's not going to ask me for anything. If I'm not logged into Google, you tend to get a checkbox. Worst case, it will fall back to having to choose a number of images from a grid of 9 or so. Often you have to identify street signs or something like that. Hopefully it doesn't go to that level very often. In most cases, it will just it'll either be a tick box or it'll be like this where I don't have to do anything. So I submit my form, and as long as I've passed all of the validation on the form, obviously I was on the way to filling in a particular form when I logged in there, then it'll let me through. So what it would normally do is just bounce you back to the dashboard after logging in. Now you'll see in the header, instead of the login link that's disappeared, I now have a little circle with my initial on it. And if I click on this, the do it online in the header, it has a couple of purposes. One is it displays the 10 most common things that people might want to do. But over on the right here, if I'm logged in, it's going to have my name, it's going to have a logout link, and it's also going to have a link to my profile. Now, if I click my profile, then we're into this page here. And this is saying, here's the information you provided on your registration form. And if I want to, I can update some of this. So I might decide to put in a work phone number, or maybe I want to change my address or what have you, and then I can just submit that, and it will update my profile. Now the other thing to point out here is on the left here we've got this security section where it says manage login methods, and if I click on that, then this is allowing me to change my login. So just to be clear, the profile that I filled in on my registration form and then I just updated, that's about the information that I provided to council to identify myself. This is all about what do I use to authenticate, to log in. So as before, I logged in with this particular email here and entered a password. I can change my password here. And the other thing I can do is add additional logins. So if I wanted to, I could add my Facebook login. And in that case, I would have two ways to authenticate. One is with my email and password, and one is with Facebook. So that's quite handy. And sometimes people will sign up with Facebook and then at a later point decide they want to switch to a Google login because they've gone off Facebook or whatever. So they can come in here self-service and switch from Facebook to Google. They could add Google. Once you've got more than one, you get a deactivate link, so you can deactivate ones you don't want to use. The other thing you can do, I've put in one email, say my email address has changed, I can add a different email, and then I'll have two, and then I can deactivate the old one if I wish. And doing things like that, adding a new email, it'll go through the same, enter your email, enter your two passwords, it'll do that verification code again, sending a code to that email address. So that's quite handy if people are wanting to change their login. They can do it themselves without having to contact council. And the last thing I want to show you, I'm just going to log out, and it will bounce me back to the dashboard. And I just want to show you logging in with, in this case, a Gmail account. So I've already registered with my Google account, and I'm using Chrome as my browser. I'm already logged in to Google. So if I click login with Google, then I don't have to enter a password or anything. I'm logged in immediately. This particular account has some invoices that we're showing to be paid, but it's that simple. And that logging in with sort of one click using my Google or my Facebook or my Microsoft account, that's especially handy on phone. So a lot of users will be using smartphones. Their smartphones will already be logged into either Google or Facebook. If they've signed up with those accounts, they can do one tap and they're logged in and authenticated into the portal, which is super handy. Okay, so that's it in terms of identity and logging in and registering. We'll do a second video around some of the features of the portal around Do It Online and My Forms and Bills and Payments in the next video. Thanks very much.